Hi. Daza asked me if I would talk about, how I got here. She asked everybody, so I said okay. My name's Colonel, and I'm 13 years old. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. The bombs and the messed up people and the cows with two heads, all of it. I was bad. Just bad. I cheated on my spelling test. I kicked Chip Wilkins in the shins until he cried. I pushed Rosie McCloy down the stairs. I cut holes in the bottom of all the gym shorts, and I put glue in the mashed potatoes in the cafeteria. I told Harold Newell to eat 10 dead flies a day in order to grow muscles, and I put Nuka-Cola in the rat cage water bottles at the pet store. And, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything. Because my dad said if I wasn't this way, the bad things wouldn't happen. I haven't seen Daddy since the bombs, and I guess he left because of that, too. It's okay. I'm trying to be good now, though. I'm not old enough to be a volunteer, but Dawson said I could help collect food and water, so I'm getting better, I promise. And, Daddy, if you're listening, I promise I won't be bad anymore, so you can come back now. Okay? Okay. Bye.
How did this happen? I could have stopped it. It's all my fault. If only I was better. When everything we know crumbles to dust in front of us, when we lose control of ourselves and hurt those we love, how do we find our way back? Hello, and welcome to Gaming Therapy, a show about exploring gaming's most beloved characters and examining them through the perspective of a therapist. I'm currently an MFT trainee, and one of my biggest hobbies is gaming. In this week's session, I'd like to explore with you two important feelings that have been on my mind for a while: shame and guilt. What we just listened to was the final recording of Colonel, a 13-year-old survivor of the Great War in 2077. If you're not familiar with the Fallout series, it's a post-apocalyptic role-playing game set in a world that mirrors our own with a few key differences. Mainly, the wide adoption of nuclear energy as a power source for the world, the lack of microtechnology that would eventually lead to our own modern technology, and a country that still embraces American exceptionalism. The Fallout universe begins its story in the trenches of World War II with the atomic bomb and stretches out into the future of 2297 at the time of this video. Fallout 76 takes place 25 years after the bombs dropped. West Virginia is the location of our session today. Life as we know it has ended. Gone are the days of simplicity, convenience, and civility. The world no longer abides by any kind of laws created by man, and is instead held together only by the whims of whoever has the most power. You either see the end of a barrel or down it, but rarely in control of which. With so much lost, many survivors naturally spiral downwards as a way to cope or find meaning in their pain. Others attempted to bargain in an attempt to turn back time when everything seemed so peaceful and safe. Colonel is a young man grappling with massive guilt of what he falsely believes is the cause of the end of the world and everything that's wrong with it now: himself. While his recording doesn't offer much in terms of details, we can surmise that Colonel lost his whole family when the bombs fell. We find his holotape recording at the top of a church overlooking the city of Flatwoods, surrounded by his teddy bears, sugar bomb cereal, and his sleeping bag. Likely in the hopes that someday he might spot his dad running back into town ready to prove to him how much of a good boy he has been in an effort to prove that he is not guilty of the world ending. Last session, we introduced the 4 attachment styles to explain how children are affected by the parents or caregivers in their lives as they grow from infants into teens and into adults. For Colonel, I'd like to present him through the lens of a disorganized attachment style. This style in particular is expressed by behaviors and characteristics such as insecurity, needing his father's approval, high anxiety, fear of the future if he doesn't correct his behavior, confused about love, believes that to receive love, he must earn it, low self-worth / negative view of self, doesn't believe he is worthy of father's time or love, and lastly, fear of abandonment / wanting close relationships. He constantly bullies people pre-war, but wants father's approval. However, I think that the most impactful statement Colonel made was this. 'Cause my dad said, if I wasn't this way, the bad things wouldn't have happened. Guilt is a heavy burden to carry. But it feels even worse when you feel like you have to carry it all alone. It wasn't fair to Colonel, and it isn't fair to you. We don't know what became of Colonel by the time we stumble across his holotape 25 years later, but I think we can all agree that we hope he was able to find peace and purpose with the responders as they try to heal the world. Alongside guilt, shame seems to always follow close by. While some have found hope and the will to continue living post-nuclear war, there are some that struggle to find hope and purpose as they grapple with shame and fear. There is a man by the name of Lucky Lou living alongside a community of raiders by an area called the Crater. Lou states that he was around 70 years old when the bombs fell, but was given effectively immortal life due to his ghoulification when the bombs dropped. For those unaware, ghoulification happens when an individual absorbs so much radiation that they become mutated almost beyond recognition from their previous selves. While most retain their intelligence and human-like qualities, some devolve into mindless feral ghouls that seek to kill and feed on others with no will of their own. In our quest to find Lou to assist us with a demolition job, we learn that Lou has begun spiraling as his justifiable fear of becoming feral and harming his community engulfs his thoughts as he catastrophizes about his future. When we locate Lou, we find him holed up in a cave system, warning us that he doesn't want to harm us, and is instead doing everyone a favor. Progressing through the cave system, we discover his true intentions as we realize that Lou is actively suicidal, and that his attempts are escalating with each failed attempt due to his Lucky moniker. Due to his ghoulification, Lou has super strength, durability, and regenerative properties that make it seem like he can cheat death. Littered throughout the caves, near the stage at each attempt, we find notes from Lou that gives us a bit of insight into what he is thinking and feeling before and after each attempt. Ultimately, what we can gather from Lou is that he's a very caring individual that doesn't want to be a problem for anyone, especially those that he considers to be his friends. In this world, Lou's fears and struggles are justified because he doesn't know when or even if he'll ever become feral, but by the time he turns, it will have become too late, and the reality of him attacking and killing his friends and family are very real. Outside of this safe community at Crater, ghouls, whether they're feral or not, are often killed on sight due to the potential danger that they pose. It would be immoral and irresponsible to disregard the reality of his struggle simply because it might make us uncomfortable, or because we can't or won't try to understand his perspective. However, this does not mean that we have to condone it. Lou deserves to live just like everybody else with dignity, empathy, and respect despite what might happen to him. Despite his persistence, we find out that Lou is open to postponing his final attempt when we offer to talk to him about it later, after telling him that we'd rather try to convince him to live. And sometimes, that's all the intervention we need. So, what can we do for Colonel and Lou? What kind of treatment goals can we provide them? To put it simply, hope. The world of Fallout is an extreme, harsh, and relentless one that doesn't care if you're righteous or evil, and if the radiation doesn't kill you, well, several hundred other things can and will. But that doesn't mean that there isn't hope. Time and again, we've heard from Colonel and Lou that there are people out there trying to rebuild and create a future that everyone can be safe in. For Colonel, I'd like to work on finding ways to improve his negative view of self by pointing out that he has contributed positively towards his new community, collecting food and water for those that need help. Remind him that although he may be young, he is still contributing the best way that he can. By reflecting Colonel's cognitive distortions, like his all-or-nothing black and white thinking, we can challenge his automatic thoughts as a way to explore other possible narratives. Challenging something as simple as, do you really think that cheating on your spelling test caused all of this to happen? Can be used to start the process. For Lou, we can explore his treatment plan through the lens of an adjustment disorder diagnosis. Although everyone post-war can fit into this diagnosis, I feel that due to Lou's ghoulification, this could be a unique way to handle his symptoms relating to anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Specifically, we can diagnose Lou with persistent adjustment disorder with mixed anxiety and depressed mood due to the following events. Ghoulification for medical, psychological, and physical, and environmental. Post-nuclear war, violent communities, and constant danger from the outside world taking place over a period longer than 6 months. Lucky for Lou, pun intended, we have several ways to tackle this diagnosis that can benefit in the long run, including but not limited to modifying faulty beliefs and behaviors of self, challenging his schemas with CBT, improve coping skills. When Lou begins to spiral, we can intervene by reminding Lou of everything he has contributed to his community, building and maintaining an effective support system, something that he actually has already. They may be murderous raiders of the wasteland, but they're his murderous raiders of the wasteland. But most importantly, we want Lou to continue to live, so preventing relapse into suicidal ideation is our top priority. We can do this by showing support and reminding him that despite his looks and fears, he is a welcomed and important member of his community. The last intervention we can collaborate on with Lou is forming a safety plan, just in case if he begins to spiral again. This will come in handy by reminding him of what steps he can take and who he can reach out to in the crater if he ever needs help. All in all, both Colonel and Lou are victims of intense feelings of shame and guilt despite them not deserving any of it. But that's also how we know that they are both good people trying their best with what they have, and that should always be commended, especially during the nuclear apocalypse. Thank you for attending this session with me. I know it was a bit longer than our previous session, but I hope you were able to connect with something we discussed today. If you have an idea or a topic you would like for us to discuss, please feel free to let me know in the comments or on my social media. Or let me know what feelings, if any, came up for you when listening to these two stories about shame and guilt. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again, stay safe, be kind, and remember, I'm proud of you.